Shalei rochatz yodov v'raglav. Mechusar Kippurim. Again, yesterday we had Mechusar Kippurim that he's tummy, let's say, and he went to the mikvah. Now is not nightfall for a zav and a mitzvah. Yesterday we had 4. What were they? Zav, zava. Yoyled is a mitzvah. But we're talking about males now. We're talking about somebody who's allowed to perform the avodah, which is a male. So in the Mechusar Kippurim, we don't have 4 categories, we only have 2. Zav and a mitzvah. Which what? That if a kohen was a zav and he went to the mikvah, he's not completely kosher, tahar, until he brings a carbon. That's Mechusar Kippurim. Shalei rochatz on the meragla, or a kohen who didn't perform netilas yadayim v'raglayim. Remember we said in Zvachim, how do you do netilas yadayim v'raglayim? You have to put one foot on another foot and your hands like this on your feet and you're balancing. It's very interesting. Or a kohen that doesn't have bris milah. Why doesn't he have bris milah? Rashi says because his brothers died. Because if his brothers didn't die from a bris milah and he didn't do it, he's tam a rasha and he would be possible anyways. Tamei, a kohen that's tamei. Yoishev, he's sitting down on the floor instead of standing, and he did kmitza, no good. We know, we learned in Zvachim, the floor of the Beis Hamikdash has kedusha. It's a kli. It's like you're standing in a kaddish vessel. Now you can't separate. You can have chatzita between your feet and the floor. So if you're standing on shoes, on a chair, it's no good. Agabe behema, and this is even a bigger chiddush. A behema has meat. So I would think that if I'm sitting on the behema, it's not as bad as sitting on shoes. No good. Agabe ragle chaver. This is even a bigger chiddush. I'm standing on the feet of my friend, and my friend's feet are the same. It's min b'minoi. It's the same meat as my meat. It's still considered a chatzitza, and you're not standing on the floor. And memela, if you do a kmitza like that, pasul. And here's the biggest chomatz b'smol pasul. It's interesting that the Mishnah kind of separates all. The Gemara is going to talk about it, but the Gemara doesn't really mention this part that says pasul twice. It should say ragel chaveroi and chomatz b'smol pasul.
Why are they separate?
It doesn't mention Russia.
What?
It doesn't mention Russia in the Mishnah.
About oral?
No, Russia.
Oh, just Russell. No, because I said Russia. Rashi really means to say that he becomes an oral lave in that pasuk. I just explained it a little bit more, but it's in the miyot comes from that pasuk of arelus of milah.
Russia is not so.
Yeah, but he's puzzled. No. If a person b'dafka lahachis doesn't get a bris milah, he's puzzled avodah.
That's Russia.
That's Russia. Out to oral.
It doesn't say that in the Mishnah.
It says oral.
There's a
I'm just explaining Rashi. Other Rishonim don't say that that's the reason. They ask on Rashi. So I stuck it in under my breath why Rashi said it. That's it.
Somebody who is a Russia.
Yeah.
Is not listening.
Okay. Say it. Take it back. So it's a Russia is not necessarily supposed to avoid it. Now, yeah, I'm going to Rashi. Chomatz v'ola b'yodei tzroir. If he did kmitza, b'beseiro oimer yachzir v'yachzor v'yikmat v'yamim. Chomatz b'spo we said that if he did the kmitza with his left hand, it is pasul. You have to do it b'yamin. Ben Seir says no, it's not pasul. Yachzir v'yachzor v'yikmat v'yamin. He takes the pasul kmitza that he did with his left hand, puts it back into the original bowl, and then he starts over again with his right hand. He didn't ruin anything, Ben Beseira says.
The previous ones you can't do over.
Now, we're going to see in the Gemara that Ben Beseira really is talking about everything in the Mishnah. Even if a Zar, a Yisrael did Kmitza, he could say, oops, I'm a Zar, somebody yells at him, you're not supposed to do Kmitza, you can put it back in the bowl, then another Kohen will come along and do Kmitza. Says the Mishnah, Chomatz v'ola b'yodei tzroir. If he did Kmitza and a stone came into his hand, even 1 grain of salt. Unbelievable. He's holding a hand. Usually in the Torah says you have to have a shear, a kazayis. Even 1 grain of salt could pass. Why? Because it says meloi kumtzai. You have to have a full hand of a kmitza, and even 1 grain of salt is going to ruin the meloi kumtzai. Or even 1 little piece of levina, even though we do mix a levina into the mincha, but that's on the side. Even though we do put salt on the mincha, that's right before it goes onto the mizbeach, on top of the kmitza, but not before he did the kmitza.
Are most of these menachos already after they're baked?
Yeah.
Isn't most
Yeah.
So isn't it already baked in with the salt?
No. So that's what I'm saying. The salt comes afterwards, right before you makter it. More than necessary or less kmitza than necessary possible. And what does it mean too much kmitza? Two pshatim Rashi. Either he went like this with his 3 fingers and didn't go like this with his thumb, didn't go like this, so you have sticking out on the side, or he went like this and he never closed his fingers down to his palm. And the Mishnah is explaining here that he went like this. Instead of going down to the bottom of his palm over here, he closed his fingers up here. He went like this. So it's much less than if he went like that. Taisus points out, we just said 1 grain of salt passes. That's all you need to say. But so Taisus says the Mishnah is just following the first part, going like this. So the Mishnah continues going like that. But really, even a grain of salt passes. It says in the Gemara, 10 minutes, Yeshua.
Bro.
Why did the Mishnah just say all menachos? Why does the Mishnah split up a zar? I'm sorry, minchas choyte and all the rest of the list. Listen, kol menachos shkmatzim zar v'ainen finished. Says the Gemara, Reb Shimon it's the Desanya, Omer Reb Shimon, Bedinu shtei minchas choyte tuna shemenu levoino shlei choyte niska. Really, this person did an avera. That's why he's bringing a mincha. So why should he gain? Why should we say, oh, you don't have to bring oil? Let him spend the extra money on oil. No, choyte. Choyte is choyte. This is a chatos. And now also, by a regular chatos. Why should he save money on wine? So get that Chamino, Hoyel V'Omar Reb Shimon, Shlei Korban Mehudar, Kikamslei Psulim Nami Diskasha, Kamash Malon. So since this guy is a bad guy, he did an avera, so maybe we should make him feel bad and say even Yisrael is good on your carbon and make his carbon like a lesser madrega. So Kamash Malon. That's why the Mishnah is saying that even according to Reb Shimon, it's a zar is no good. Over there, the in Zvachim, we should split it up and say the same chiddush, because we want to show that this guy, even though he didn't have Aveira and brought a zevach, and he doesn't have to bring the sachim, but maybe a Yisrael should be able to do is just to shtach him and say, hey, you're such a bad guy. All the karbanis in the Mesa Bingdash, we need chashavik how to do it. Yours is even Yisrael could do it.
And split it up in Kamashmal and that not.
And split it up in Kamashmal and that not. V'leim el Reb Shimon Yitzrich. I'm giving it only kol. V'leim only chutz. Kulu mashma. But over there, the Mishnah doesn't split it up, and it's mashma all the karbanos. Hachanami, you give the tonic like tonic chutz kulu mashma. So by us also don't split it up. Why are you splitting it up? Yitzrich. So gedalich amina hoyva yikim na l'reisha the like Reb Shimon. We already said in the first Mishnah of Masechet Zvachim, we said it doesn't go according to Reb Shimon. That what Reb Shimon holds, that a mincha that's done shaloi l'shma is kosher ve'alu l'bailim, where the Mishnah says it's not good for the bailim. So since the Reisha is not Reb Shimon, so I would say the second Mishnah now is also not Reb Shimon. So how do I say it is Reb Shimon? How do I tell it to you in a hint? So I split it up. Kamash Malon that it goes Sevenami the Reb Shimon. Kamash Malon that it goes according to Reb Shimon. That a zar. And I would think that the Mishnah that a zar should be kosher. Kamash Malon, a zar is not kosher according to Reb Shimon.
Well, so why is it separate?
To show us that there's a difference. And Afal Pikain, it goes. If it would just say everything, I'll just say okay, that goes according to Chachamim, and there's no difference between a zar and not a zar. Now I'm telling you there is a difference between a chayte and a zar, and it's coming to tell us that even Reb Shimon agrees in this case, like our Mishnah, whereas in the first Mishnah he doesn't agree. Amar Rav, another very interesting sugya, and we have to hold cup over here. Says Rav, zar shekomat yakzir. No, you should know that if a zar does it, the Mishnah says possible. But I'm telling you If a Zar, a Yisrael, does Kmitza, you can just put it back in the bowl, pretend nothing happened, and the Yisrael starts over again. The Mishnah says it's possible. My apostle Haji Yachzir. No, that's not what the Mishnah meant. The Mishnah meant that he has to return it, and then he can start over. So then what's the difference between Ben Beseira and the Tanakama? They're all saying the same thing. Says the Gemara, there's a big difference. If the Kaimitz is here in the world, then there's absolutely no machlokes. You're right. Keep ligi, and that's what Rav was saying. The Kaimitz is here. He went like this, put it back, and everybody agrees. Keep ligi, the chaser Kaimitz. No, it got lost. It fell on the floor. You can't use it anymore. Rabbanan Sabri lo yavi mitach beis avim elenu. B'mseir savar yavi mitach beis avim elenu. There's a shaila here. If the kli is mikadeshet, once you put the mincha in the kli, that's it. It locks it. So now, if you're missing the kaimet, you can't fill it up anymore. You have to start from scratch. But Chacham say no. The kmitza is what locks it. And guess what? Who did the kmitza? Somebody that's puzzled. It's very interesting. Somebody that's puzzled did the kmitza, so you never did a kmitza. You never locked it because there's no kmitza done here. Because the person doing the kmitza, he was a Yisrael. That's not considered kmitza. So you could just put it back in the bowl and use it. And that's the machlokes. If that's really the pshat and Ben Beseira and the Chachamim, so really the Mishnah doesn't even mention it. It should be mentioned in the Mishnah. Could you refill the mincha with more flour? It should say, Beisoy, you could go home and refill it. Says the Gemara, you're right. It's a very good kasha. I have to start all over. Why? So what is Rav saying here? You're right. Rav is saying like Ben Beseira. Kiko, Marav, Le Ben Beseira. All Rav was saying is, you should know that according to Ben Beseira, or I hold like Ben Beseira, that if a Zar does it, I could use that flour and it's all good. I wasn't talking about Tanakama. Pshita, so then what did he add to the Mishnah? He's just telling me over what Ben Beseira said. That's not a chiddush. Oh, this is a big chiddush. Because we read the Mishnah and we saw, like Reuben was saying,
only last
thing. Ben Beseira says, if somebody did it with his left hand, put it back in the bowl.
And it was separate.
And it's separate, and it's mashma from the Mishnah that a Zar, Yisrael, that took a kmitza, and he's finished. He can't put it back in the bowl. So that's what Rav came to say. No, the entire Mishnah, a Oynen, a Zar, whatever it is, if he did it, you could put it back in the bowl and start all over again. Now, why would I think there's a difference between the left hand and a Yisrael? Maishna is small. Why would I think small is so special? By the way, this is all Chazar for us, for Psachim. These are all concepts we learn. But what? We find that in Yom Kippur, the Kohen Gadol cannot juggle everything in one hand. He has to take a pan of cholim, he has to hold ketores, he has to put it in here, and can't touch that. He needs to use both hands. So if he could use his left hand on Yom Kippur, so the left hand is not the worst thing in the world. So this guy did kmitza with his left hand says no, so he could use it again. But Yisrael is never okay in avodah. When could Yisrael do avodah? So memela, I would think that that's different. So the Gemara, wait a minute, Yisrael is good in avodah. Shchita. Zornami hashchita sheri b'shchita. So the Gemara, shchita lav avodah. No, we never found avodah. Shchita is not avodah. V'loi. V'amar Reb Zeir Amar Rav. Shchita is para b'zor psula. A paraduma has to have a kohen. So you see what?
Shchita
is avodah. V'amar Rav Allah elazar v'chuka. It says in paraduma the word elazar hakohen, and it says chuka. And every time it says chuka, what does chuka mean? It has to be exactly like it says in the pasuk. And it says in the pasuk they have to use a kohen, so we have to use a kohen. Shani para the kachi bedeka baisi. Okay, it's not an avodah, says the Gemara. We know that paradum has a very low kedusha. There's something called kachi mizbeach, which is the highest kedusha, and there's something less called kachi bedeka bais. It's what we buy things to fix the Beis Hamikdash. It's a lower kedusha.
It's not considered an avodah.
So memela, it's not considered an avodah. It's such a low kedusha. So then why do you need a kohen? So the Gemara says, "V'lav kol dechenu." So wait a minute, I have a kavachomer. If on a very low kedusha, I could only use a kohen. Kachi bedekavayis bo kuuna. Kachi mizbeach loy bo kuuna. So Rashi explains. So therefore, what? Then it is a avodah. If I need a, and yet we say by us, no. So by us, it's mutter bizarre. It's a special chiddush that even though it's an avodah, it's mutter bizarre. So there's no nafkamina between a left hand and a Yisrael. Both of them have a situation somewhere that the mutter, the left hand is mutter Yom Kippur. So what? But shechita is also mutter by Azar. So what's the difference? Why are they separate? Why are you telling me that small is so special? Small is not special because shechita is also special. It's also mutter with the Yisrael. Fine. So the Gemara of an Elif Mibama. Wait a minute. I have. Oh, sorry. Good. Test.
Chicago, it's not.
Say there.
Let's go.
Say there. You guys passed?
10 seconds.
We are running out of time. Say that. You see Chicago?
You just
It's not the
saved 10
same thing. No, I was telling them in Chicago once in a while when we're running out of time, skip. And over here only have 3 lines. Over there is 10, 15 lines.
Pages.
Yeah. Omer Rav Shisha Breder Ravidi. Midi dehava maris negoim. No, it's no connection to avodah. We see sometimes in the Beis Hamikdash, in Kachin, in just in general, the Torah says that you need a kohen. Nothing to do with avodah. Just like a Mara, everybody agrees that looking at somebody's negat saras on his hand is not an avodah. It's just a specialty that a kohen does. Let's learn from Bama that it's a kosher by a zar. So Mela, it's the same thing as the left hand that's kosher on Yom Kippur. Maybe, so Rashi sticks in a Gishmak Avar. What?
Meaning even the other avodas are kosher by Zah. No?
What do you mean?
Not only shechita. Even the Kabbalah.
Yeah. Right. All avodas. So Rashi says, maybe you don't learn from Bama. Why not? Because in those days there's no such thing as a kohen. The Torah didn't make a distinction between a kohen and Yisrael. Everybody was mutter and avodah. How do I know that if meat goes out of the boundaries of the Azara is possible, but if somebody was over and took that meat and put it on top of the Mizbeach, don't take it off the Mizbeach? Why? Because by Bama there is no Yaitze B'chlal, because a backyard is not in the Azara. Every backyard is kosher for a Bama, so there's no in and out. Everything is out, everything is in. So that's how I learn it. So Memela, don't tell me I don't learn from Bama. I do learn from Bama. Says the Gemara, no. The fact that I learn Yaitze, then Im Allah Yered, and this we had in Zvachim at least 10 times, maybe 5, but a lot of times. I learn it from a pasuk. That Yaitze Im Allah Lo Yered, that if a meat went outside of the Azara, I could put it on if somebody by mistake put it on the Mizbech, I don't take it off. That I know from a pasuk. How do I know from the pasuk? Azois Teres Ha'olah Samachle. Just I use Bama as a slight asmachta, kind of a limud, but that's not the real place. So in Mela, I don't have a geshmaka mikar to tell me that a Yisrael is kosher in Avodah, because I can't learn from a Bama. You see that I do learn from a Bama. I don't really learn from a Bama. Fine. Hello, Taimo Dashmina Rav. So then, why do I need Rav to tell me that the whole Mishnah, the Ben Beseir's halacha, that I could go and put the flour back in the bowl, is talking about every single halacha in the Mishnah? There's no reason to make a distinction between left hand and the other psulim. They're all the same. We couldn't come up with an afkamina between Smoil and Zariat. Why? Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon Oimrim, Machshir Hoya Ben Beseira b'chol hapsulim kulam. We have a Mefurish Brayso that says that Ben Beseira, exactly what we thought Rav said, that the entire Mishnah is kosher according to Rav. Now Tosfos points out, B'shum makom le'parach binyan zeh. Interesting. You'll never find an entire Shas a question like that on Rav. The Kashi Achim Ma'iskin Shminin all the time in Brayso. Then why did Rav have to repeat a Brayso? Rav many times repeats Braysos, and the Gemara doesn't say, wait a minute, but the Brayso says Mefurish. Who cares? Rav is a Tana, he says Braysos over. But Tosfos has a reason why the Gemara asks here, but it's interesting. It's once in a lifetime, this Gemara right here, Kasha on Rav from a Brayso. And another kasha, Vitanya, V'chomatz misham, mimokim shiragla hazor oimdos. I'll show you real quickly because we're running out of time. But this is the Beis HaMikdash. This entire thing is the Hazara. This is the Kodesh HaKadoshim. This is the Oil Moed. Where did the Yisraelim stand? They stand right over here in this light area, which is, Rashi brings right over here. It's 11 amas from this wall to this wall. 11 amas in our 22 feet approximately. From this, it looks like a very narrow place. It's 22 feet. So that's where the Yisraelim are standing. The Kohen comes over to here and he does the Kemitza because the Yisrael is bringing his mincha, so he has to walk over here. Don't think, the Gemara says, that you have to do the Kemitza over here, Sofin of the Mizbeach. No, he could come over here and do it in this area as well. Fine. Minayin shinkamat v'tanya v'kamatz misham mimokim shiragle hazor oimdos. What I learned from the word v'kamatz misham, minayin shim kamatz b'smol sheyavzer b'yavzer b'yikamatz b'yamin. Tameloy mar v'kamatz misham. What's misham? Mimokim shekamatz kvar. So the key in the cross stomach sivba. Now, Ben B'Seir's whole limud is from these two words v'kamatz misham. It doesn't mention anything in the pasuk that it's with the left hand. Anything that's possible, even if Yisrael does it, even if Einan does it, start over. Ben B'Seir says v'kamatz misham. So there's no distinction between left hand and Yisrael. Mali small, mali shar psulim. El hokam ashmal rav, chomatz v'afilu kidesh. Fine, maybe we should stop here and they'll smack in the middle of a word. That what? The Rav is coming to say that even though he did dusha, and Noam, you'd like this. The first we put the flour in a bowl in a klisharis, but then he has to do kmitza and put it back in another klisharis. So if he put it back in another klisharis, I would think he cannot start over again. It's too late. Says Rav, he could. And we'll see a little bit more of that tomorrow.
And I wasn't that wrong yesterday.
What?
I wasn't that wrong yesterday.
About
because the next Siyam would come out in the middle of Hanukkah. So we're going to have latkes.
Shkoya. Hey, just press that button.